Chafing Armor Podcast, episode 55. Hail to the King. Welcome back to the Chafing Armor Podcast. I'm your host and befuddled Dungeon Master. I am befuddled because my microphone died about 20 minutes before recording. So I'm recording on Izzy's headphone. So if I sound differently, that's what's going on. And with me tonight, with a much superior microphone, is James. James, tell everyone who you will be playing.
Hello, I am playing Penton Chalice, the spell scale sorcerer, who is shiny and friendly.
So very friendly. And with us also is Dare. Dare found a microphone in a hidden vault from the 1920s, and it said, if you record with this, it will give you everything you desire. And then there was somehow a chuckle written onto the note. It was very, very strange. Dare, tell everyone who you will be playing.
Greetings, everyone. I am playing Tix Birchmanson, the diminutive, larger-than-life gnome cleric.
He is both of those things and ready for action, and cannot be eaten by a mimic no matter how hard the mimic tries. And also with us today is Lee. Lee, tell everyone who you will be playing.
G'day everybody, my name's Lee and I'll be playing Osakai, the not-so-shiny and not-so-friendly Shifter Ranger.
A little more on the terse side, though perhaps secretly with a heart of gold. We shall see. Couple of quick things. Isabel will not be joining us tonight, partially because I've stolen her microphone, but also because she had a social engagement. Being a teenage young child, she has those from time to time. When we last left our adventurers, you had just successfully defeated the epic battle known as the Docks of Punchy McBeardface, and overcome a rather dangerous foe who had been infused by magic and a mimic, and you had found various magical items along with some others. You had met a strange adventurer who claimed to defend Massgate, known as Grand Duke Curis Vigilfist. And your chicken hut now has a recovering elf in it who is blind and yet not blind. Before we get going full and proper, and I want you to know, James, I am not going to screw you over with this answer. This is merely logistics.
Okay.
Where was the Staff of Seraphim during this?
I believe it was on a holder inside the hut.
Okay. I did want to let you know that the witch who just flew away, who was actually, of course, the Boo Hag, just flew out of that hut. Would you like to do anything?
I wanted to go in and check on our lady friend who is recovering in there, who got jostled a bit, and see if she's okay. And also check to see if the staff is there, I guess, because although the Boo Hag didn't fly away holding anything big and shiny, you never know.
Yes, there are such things as bags of holding and whatnot, and she could totally have had it. But as I said, I am not going to screw you over with that answer. That was actually my understanding, was that you did have it on a holster type thing on the side of the wall in the chicken hut.
Right.
And when you go back in there, you do find it is in fact still there. It has apparently been unmolested for reasons you do not know. She did not take it. Whether or not she used it, she simply could have taken it from you. Unless, of course, she couldn't. She did not ever actually touch it when she was pretending to be the Witch of the Lowlands. Just a little FYI. But it is still there. Skull is recovering. She had actually held on to the side of the hut and pulled herself back up. And she is, honestly, she's not in real great shape because she had, as you saw earlier, in your earlier adventure, has some magic of her own. Very well might have participated in this battle and certainly might not have gotten the better of her from the Boo Hag. She doesn't seem to be feeling very well. And in fact, as you go to check on her, what would you like to say?
Skull, what's going on? Are you all right?
Oh, well, and she just
Oh.
vomits all
Oh.
over the front stoop. Some of it goes out of the building, some of it stays in the chicken hut. She throws up. Osokai and Tix, you both see this happen, by the way.
Tix, can you come up here, please?
I start working my way down off the ship and down onto the dock. Tix marches his little legs over there and is not relishing the vomit smell as he draws close, but will use his knowledge of healing to check her over.
Would you make a medicine check for me?
I will do that.
While he's doing that, I will press to digitate the vomit away.
Okay. You make some very simple passes with your hand, and slowly but surely the vomit starts to fade. The smell lingers for a little while, and then it manages to fade as well. What did you roll on that, Tix?
That is a modified 28.
Hoo-ha.
Oh my goodness. So, this is a medieval fantasy world. There isn't an advanced knowledge of concussions. That's what she has, is a concussion. You are very familiar that one of the side effects of that is throwing up. When there was the massive explosion that set her shop partially on fire, but it wasn't a flame, it was just, damaged. She actually was knocked unconscious. You, actually, Penton, quite heroically, using the chicken hut to get to the second floor, had rescued her, but she had been injured. That's partially why she was not taking part in the combat, is because she had a pretty nasty concussion, and she's kind of all wibbly-wobbly right now.
I will also use restoration, cast restoration on her to fix her up.
You lay, and I want to hear just a quick little word. What would a restoration prayer sound like from to Glitter Gold?
No pressure.
Lord, should I do it in the squeaky voice? Lord
No, because
Gold!
it is my absolute belief that while some diminutive characters do have a squeaky voice, Tix actually does not, though Osokai does not see it that way.
Lord Glittergold, we ask that you heal this one before you that has served the cause of good and saved us and helped us. We ask that you heal her head and her heart.
And there is a visible flash of energy, and imagine, you don't know if you actually see it or not, but you imagine you almost see like a boom on her head as it restores itself, and she looks up at you just with incredible gratefulness. She goes, "Oh my goodness," and she turns to you, Penton, and she goes, "You have some very good friends."
I do. And Penton squeeze and gives Tix a hug.
And she's like not sure if she's going to be unsteady or not, but she raises herself up, and she's very recovering. Osokai, you were on the top of the deck when you dispatched you and the others, and of course eventually it was actually Penton who laid the final blow.
Lucky shot.
But you are actually on the top deck of the ship.
I don't believe so. I believe I jumped down to dispatch one of the
Oh, I'm
skeletons.
sorry. Yes, you jumped down, and I kept trying to warn you against it because it was going to kill you. But you did it anyway, and you still survived. You managed to survive that and actually have a pretty epic final moment there. So you are down below, and your boar has made his way back through the ship, back through that opening. You are actually being approached by Vigilfist. And he comes up to you and he says, "Oh, good sir, good ranger. Are you not the leader of this band?"
No.
Tix laughs from across the docks.
You hear the, "Ha, ha, ha, ha."
The guy just shakes his head. No.
Okay. And he kind of tilts it. So you don't know if he just assumes the largest person is the leader. He's the largest one of his group. I don't know. But he says, "Well, it was, as he said before, completely adequate, your fight against this dark foes." And behind him, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his compatriots are kind of stamping out the fires from the remains of the burning skeletons. And they're actually tending to one of them is a elven male, and he was actually very badly injured. He's actually was fairly badly burned to the fact when he was unconscious, and they have actually been able to stabilize him, but he's not in great shape. Vigil Fist says to you, "Well, may I offer for all of you to come with me to receive your rightful due, and actually meet the king of Hyboria and the ruler of Masgate, the king himself."
That sounds fitting for a follower of Garl Glittergold, but let me attend your erstwhile companion who is suffering from some burns.
"Oh, you are a holy man. Fantastic." He has been kind of playing up to the crowd, and it's actually like in a way you're almost impressed by how he hasn't actually like been lying. Like he hasn't said like you guys didn't do anything. But if anyone who's listening would totally think that Vigil Fist did 99% of the work and you guys, like held the bags. And there's several dozen people here because this was a massive explosion. And of course, the docks are never completely empty, even at night. It's about 11 o'clock at night, by the way. Tix, what are you going to do?
I will go up and check over the elf and bandage his wounds, and then I'll cast Cure Light Wounds on him for...
Okay.
That is 9 points of healing.
9 points of healing. So you see there were third and even fourth degree burns, which is where the bone is actually exposed. And those really bad burns around his neck and his shoulders like instantly close up. And he's still in fairly rough shape, but he is now up and going and mobile, and he stumbles to his feet, and he's a thin elven male, and he bows so deeply that he actually, goes below you, Tix. He says to you, "Shellenshuck, at your service."
God bless you.
Oh, and which one is that?
Gesundheit.
Oh, how droll! Wonderful, wonderful. We will look forward to having you come with us. Come. We must all away from this place, from the docks. The rabble are coming out, and things will be getting just far too bad for us. We always have a tendency to forget these things. I do want to give you all the opportunity at any point that you want to. There have been various magical items that y'all have found throughout your adventures. And so if at any time y'all want to do anything with those, please do let me know.
Okay.
Yes, on our way to find the king, we need to... Is it Skull?
Skull.
Mm-hmm.
Can she divine magical properties? Let's ask her what the extent of her ability.
She kind of laughs when you say that, and she says, that's my job. That's literally what I do day in and day out, is I take in various precious stones and identify whether or not they are valuable, but also people bring me precious gems that are set in rings, that are set in amulets, and I divine their value, and it's actually not an insignificant source of my income. However, and she kind of like touches her head, I think I might be willing to do a little pro bono work for y'all.
We don't have to have pro bono, but a nice discount would be good. We have a sword, a necklace, and an amulet that we would like to have identified.
Yes, and there is actually also a ring that Osokai found. Osokai, are you going to bring that forth as well?
I am not.
Okay. They have no idea you have it. You pulled it off a burning skeleton hand with a high dexterity roll. No one else has any idea that you have it. The only thing you know is that you could tell it is clearly in some way magical, and the gem is reddish. It might be a ruby, or it might just be reddish. You're actually not skilled enough to tell, especially not in this light. So anyway, we'll skip that. So she takes first amulet. The amulet was either around the neck, or perhaps more grossly inside Punchy McBeardface. And she takes it and holds it, and she immediately goes, "Oh, yes, this is definitely magical. And y'all are all walking. Chorus is just he never really stops talking. He is just making random pronouncements, and he's almost like a politician that he's shaking hands and kissing babies as people come out to see what the hubbub is. He's
Kiss,
oh, young lady, you are safe, and things like that.
shaking hands, kissing babies, kissing hands, shaking babies.
Yes, that's why he gets in so much trouble. And speaking of hands, his hands are actually fairly badly burned. Not horribly. He was wearing gloves. His primary form of attack is punching, and when you're punching a burning skeleton, it's not going to go well for you. So he was actually he's not, you can tell that he's kind of like cradling them, and he's not requested any kind of healing from you or anything, but just making note of that. But Skull holds out. It's weird because she's almost like she's holding it to the light, but you can tell that like she's doing something where she kind of moves it back and forth, and somehow that kind of like clicks things into place for her. And she says, "Oh, I've never actually seen one of these before." And then she smiles and kind of tilts her heads towards y'all, with, of course, seen being the operative word. She says, "This is an amulet of mighty fists. It actually will give you beneficial advantage on hand-to-hand combat, on bare knuckle, hand-to-hand, that kind of thing. I got the impression that the former gentleman that was up there was a monk of some sort. The Punchy McBeardface was technically a monk. This a very, very bad one before he got infused. That seems to be what that necklace is.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, amulet.
Okay.
Make a quick perception roll. And he rolls middling. So as she's saying this, Chorus actually turns back to y'all and he says, "We're all saying something about a fist, a punching amulet of some sort, or I didn't quite hear."
We're just looking at some necklaces. I'm sure you must have misheard.
Okay, make a deception check.
Ouch.
Okay. That is on a bluff. And my bluff is +6. So that is a 25.
He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I just always thinking of the old rope-a-dope." He moves his, fists about. He goes, "I must have misheard you. Never mind. Please continue." She next takes the necklace that this was actually from the wizard-type fellow that you fought, the drow that was under the cavern, under Loth's estate. She kind of feels it and she says, "This is interesting." She kind of, goes back and forth for a little while. She finally says, "I have never even heard of someone having one of these. This is called a amulet of feast or famine."
What does that do?
Well, one, if you have a diamond or similar precious gem worth 1,000 gold, but who's going to have a gem worth 1,000 gold? I don't know if you catch that or not, Osokai. That bugbear who was apparently might have even been working with the Dark Elves actually had one of those. This allows you to conjure a feast that will give you tremendous benefits. And normally only a high-level spellcaster is able to cast this spell, but you can do it freely with this necklace if you have the component. And she describes the feast, and basically it makes every perfect item that you would want for a feast. Afterwards, you are immune from fear and from various influence type spells like charm and things like that. And it also gives you other bonuses, like a bonus to your hit points and several other things. So it's an incredible bonus, the kind of thing you might do before a great battle.
Interesting.
And you have a vague recollection when y'all were listening in about the elves, the Dark Elves, complaining about the feast not being the way that they wanted. And Osokai would be the only one who would know this. You might wonder if you having found that 1,000 gold diamond might have had something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, y'all don't know about that part, but it is called Feast or Famine. It is also has the ability once a day to cast a spell on someone called Famine, and it basically emaciates them. It's think about your like a weakness spell or a debilitating spell. It will do that to one person once a day.
Ouch.
It's not a very nice. It's definitely she even talks about it like kind of having a yin yang, a back and forth kind of thing. And she's not sure. She says, but it may be that in order to use the feast, you have to use the famine at least once. But she's actually not certain about that.
And while she's busy doing that, I'm going to cast my own identify and take up the last item.
Okay.
I just want to join in the fun.
Yeah, and she's impressed because, of course, again, this is what she does all day. And someone says, "Oh, I'm an accountant," and you're like, "Oh, well, let me show you my spreadsheets." She's impressed, and you cast it. The last item that y'all have available, because of course Osokai is not hiding, but just not revealing the ring, is the sword. You get a very weird result from this.
Huh.
You think that this sword it's magical, first of all. You think that this might actually be an intelligent sword.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and as you did say from Oh Boy, that there are very, very good and very, very bad things about that. Using this detect magic, you are getting an aura of neutrality.
Oh, it's an identify. So I would rather than just a detect magic. So
okay,
it'll actually tell me everything about the sword.
Oh sure, no. I'm letting you know that swords of this kind, of course, they're either good, evil, or neutral.
Right.
And this is showing you as a neutral sword.
At least there's that.
And it actually, as you're doing it, a name is whispered to you, and it says, "I am Destiny Seeker." But it's not. You haven't connected to the sword or anything. This is just part of your identify. It identifies itself as Destiny Seeker. It has the ability to, as all magical swords do, it can hit very easily. If a creature is at 50% or lower health, it will actually crit on a 19 to 20 instead of a natural 20.
Interesting.
And it will actually do 2 extra necrotic damage on every hit. On a natural 20, or if it's below 20, the creature must save versus death.
Yikes.
Yeah, it will actually... they must save versus death or instantly die when hit by this Destiny Seeker.
But it's not evil.
It is showing itself as neutral, which would explain how a dark elf, a dark paladin, might have been able to wield it. You're not quite sure. It is very powerful, very rare. Intelligent swords are rare of their own. Oh, and it is it's also just your basic everyday +1 magical sword.
Okay.
So if anyone ever wants to wield that,
anybody want a friend? Anyone? Anyone? Please take this thing away from me.
Tix goes over and takes it.
I don't think you want it either, buddy.
I'll talk to Garl Glittergold about that.
Okay.
It's Ookie, and I pass along the name. It calls itself Destiny Seeker. It calls itself that. It calls itself that. At least it was talking in my head. I don't know if it talks out loud. It hasn't done anything yet, but sometimes they just talk in your head.
Is it on it? Does it have a sheath?
Yes, it does have a sheath.
So I will strap the sheath to my belt. So is it a short sword for a regular person and a?
It's actually a long sword.
Oh, so it's a great sword for you.
Yes, so you can wield this two-handed. It would be a great sword for you.
Can you even use swords? Is that in your
would,
wheelhouse?
Not generally. I would have to do a lot of praying about that.
Yes, you would definitely have to consult with your god to see.
And he prefers that I use an axe, so I'm probably going to be out of luck on this. So
Maybe it's something our house half-orc might be able to use.
Very possibly, though she is very enamored with her halberd and is specialized in it, so we shall have to see. She is with y'all right now. She's just
Right.
walking with y'all. I just don't feel like having her. As one gentleman said, every time when he played and someone couldn't be there, the DM would have them fall into a manhole. And the conceit was that it took them the entire adventure to crawl back out of the manhole for when they were there next time. But we're not doing a manhole this time. She's just with y'all, but strangely silent. Osokai, your pig, I'm sorry, I keep calling him pig, your boar has made his way back up to you. Are you going to, do you do anything for him or reward him in any way after combat?
Yes, we're actually going to break off from the pack and go hunt.
Okay. Do you say anything to your compatriots before doing so?
Nah.
Okay. As Tix found out from y'all's duo adventure, Osokai just breaking off is not the most unusual thing in the world. Y'all see that he just kind of splits off.
Benton, the bear boy, left.
Oh boy. Well, let's hope he doesn't go get cut in half or anything again.
Oh, come on. What are the odds of that? Oh, actually, they're 1 in 100.
Yeah, I was going to say more like 70%, but we'll see.
As you make your way further, you reveals itself. Now, I mentioned before that some of the rich parts of town were actually in the outskirts, kind of just like some of the rich parts of town of today. But there is also the inner city that is where the stronghold of the city is. Now, Massgate is not the capital of Hyboria. Before, y'all were in Beltrain. Beltrain is the continent, the kingdom, and also the capital city of where you were before. And technically, once upon a time, hundreds of years ago, Beltrain also ruled over continent of Hyboria. But that is long, long ago. They simply could not maintain that borders. But there is a history there, just FYI. But Massgate, think of it almost like New York City. It's a very important dock city. There's a lot of wealth going in and out here. It's a very large, populous city. And as it happens, the king is actually visiting, as he does, about once every maybe 6 months. He makes his way to visit Massgate, and there is a great stronghold where he is in residence right now. And that is where y'all are heading, and the huge outer gates are opening for the stronghold. As you can imagine, there were guards everywhere. But when they see Vigil Fist, they make a symbol to him and let him inside and let y'all inside behind them. They ask you all, state your business! And I want to hear, what do y'all say when you're asked to state your business?
And using my diplomacy, I state that Vigil Fist here has come to recommend that we are recognized by the king and placed as his equals in the kingdom.
Excellent. Make a diplomacy roll, please.
Ooh. And that is a 27.
27. He kind of nods his head and recognizes you as a holy man, and he says, well met, most holy one. Please come inside and bring your wizard with you.
Thank you. We will accept your hospitality.
Just out of curiosity, does Penton care about being called a wizard?
I'll let it slide. He doesn't know.
Okay. Gotcha. I was just curious. I know that obviously the two are very, very different, but you actually heard specifically when a guard came and knocked on the chicken hut earlier that they do not employ magic as part of the general guard. Quick question. What did y'all do with the chicken hut? Is it coming with you? Is it standing guard out there? What did you want to do with it, Penton?
Well, originally I was going to offer a ride to everybody, but everything's just kind of like flowed on. So I think it'll just be kind of walking along behind us and kind of parking itself outside the gates in an unobtrusive position.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask. Obviously, it gets very strange looks, as it always does, but you kind of make a gesture to it. And the guards, like, by the way, they notice that because they're a little dismissive of you with your kind of slightly ragged appearance and stuff. And then very casually, you gesture with your hands, and this unusual hut just stops and boom, 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 and seats itself. You've seen before that it has a very particular way of sitting, which seems to be most comfortable for it.
And I use my bluff to make an offhand comment to Penton, loud enough for everybody to hear, that Vigil Fist has guaranteed that our property will be protected by the guards and that it will be inviolate of anybody going in or touching it.
Gotcha. Well, you rolled your diplomacy so well earlier that it just kind of goes forward, and you hear the murmur like, "Hey guys, just don't touch that."
I'd certainly hate for anyone to die in there again.
It was quite messy last time.
True.
Yes,
True.
And only part of that is a lie.
The best lies always have a grain of truth.
That's true. First, someone did die in there. Secondly, there was a great deal of mess, though that was from throwing a corpse who was missing the inside of his, most of his internal organs.
What is Vigil Fist? Is he saying anything right now?
He is sort of greeting. He's very, very, shall we say, charismatic, and like he's going up to the guards, and like you actually see that normally he would hold out his hand and like vigorously shake them, and like as he's doing that, he realizes his hands are very badly injured, and he goes into like this double, like hands on his tummy, bowing forward to the various guards, and he knows them by name. He's like, "Oh, Gerald, good to see you. Ah, Malcolm, how are the children?" He's very, very good with the general guard, and they all just seem to love. That's what he's doing is they walk
As
in.
He's doing that, I will do one more Cure Light Wounds on just lightly touching his back, and while he's talking, I will be complimenting him on how kind he has been to us, and that it has been a joy to let him join us on our adventures, and that it is good that such a hero can gain experience with us as we protect this city for the king, and generally just twist his charisma more to our favor.
Okay. Give me just one more diplomacy roll.
And that's even better. That is a 29.
29. Okay, so as you do that, the energies flow through it. He's been really trying to keep a, stiff upper lip kind of thing, but he has been in a lot of pain. And in fact, it's only his pride that's kept him from doing that. His hands were very badly damaged because that's what monks do, is they punch multiple times. And, so it was basically like punching a roaring fire multiple times. And so he just kind of lets out a little tiny gasp, and he turns and he looks at you and he listens to what you say, and he turns to everyone and he slaps you on the back and holds out, he pulls off his other glove and holds out his hand, and he goes, "Behold, everyone, the amazing healing abilities of, what was your name again, sir?"
Lord Tix Birchmanson.
Lord Tix Birchmanson, a fine healer and a wonderful addition to the king's retinue. Please let us continue. And then as he leans forward and kind of whispers to you, "Thank you, laddie.
You're very welcome."
You're not quite sure what to make about Vigil Fist. There's different things going on there. He is a blowhard without doubt, but he didn't do as good as y'all did, but he actually did comport himself in the battle, and he, obviously very badly injured himself to defeat the skeletons. So there's different things going on with him. But y'all make your way in, and he's having a slight discussion with a robed and hooded figure. He turns to all of you and he goes, "Oh, well, isn't that a shame? You see, they were having a slight little soiree tonight, but as it is late, the king has retired. You have all been extended welcome if you would like to stay here for the night and recover and rest and bind your wounds. Then the king would love to meet you tomorrow evening, and you would all be his honored guests."
Well, that sounds lovely.
I would agree, Penton.
Osakai is going to politely decline the offer.
Okay, I thought you went off to hunt.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
okay,
that's
I'll
right.
come back.
Okay, because I was just checking because I'm about to get back to you.
Okay, alright, yeah. Oh, well, I'm still hunting then.
Gotcha. But you would have declined.
Yes.
If you hadn't been there. You all accept, and we'll fade out on that for a moment. We'll fade back in, and you're making your way back into the woods. These are actually the woods where you had originally found yourself close to the bunting. You're making your way out into the woods, and are y'all hunting for anything particular?
I'm honestly just letting Chop take the lead, see what he wants.
Okay.
Just, see what he's interested in.
Okay. Well, what you find, first of all, I make a quick roll. Oh, 17, plus his bonuses. What he is very interested in is truffles. And he heads to a tree and starts rooting around, and he starts finding a whole bunch of truffles that he starts rooting out in the ground. Of course, he also begins eating them, but you get the impression that he's purposefully leaving some for you. You know, by the way, as a person who's been a hunter and who's occasionally skirted settlements and stuff for good, truffles are not unvaluable. They're not like, worth rubies and diamonds, but, they're the kind of thing that a man with a boar like this would use to feed themselves if they were just like in a sparse settlement. And he seems to be quite good at finding them.
Of course, Osakai would get a fucking truffle pig. Alright, so Osakai will eat one truffle as a gesture of thanks to his boar pet for finding them, or companion, I should say, not necessarily a pet, and pocket a couple, however many he finds, and yeah, let's keep going. Truffles are not going to sustain Osakai; they might sustain Chop, but
well, and as you say, you did not give him any direction. That was just his preference, and perhaps you don't really know what his previous owner. You don't really know why, but you feel very certain that Chop has had another owner.
Yeah.
You just you're a hunter and you understand animals. You have a high animal handling. This is an animal. Training mightn't even be the right word, but has been with a humanoid for a long period of time and is very, very comfortable with you, and seems to instinctively understand some of your command. But he also seems to like truffles, so there's that. Would you give me a perception check, please, Mr. Osakai?
Okie. Roll that. That is 17.
A 17. You would have had to have rolled very, very badly to not perceive what was happening. But I will say the first thing you hear is the clink of chainmail, and you hear something coming through the brush. And again, you have the skill of a hunter. You know what it sounds like when say, a rabbit or even a deer is breaking through the brush. Whatever this is bigger than a deer. And you hear the sound, the distinct sound of chainmail, ching, 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 as whatever it is crashing through the brush.
Alrighty, let's melt.
Okay.
I will give a command to Chop to do the same.
Okay.
And we shall melt into the bushes. Yes, we shall, because that is a 20 on the roll. Plus my hide, so that's a 30 on my hide check.
Well, as before, you have seen a melting into the shadows. Do you want to roll for Chop, or do you want me to?
You can roll for Chop.
Okay, he rolled a 1.
He is a boar. We are in the forest. It's probably
he is
not
a boar.
that
He
rough
is in the forest.
to think that there
more
would be a boar in the forest.
Yeah. It's more that he doesn't quite understand that command from you yet. He definitely understands from you. Stop, go, this way, attack, things like that. But he still hasn't learned some of your more subtle commands. So when you just melt into the forest and you kind of make the gesture that you would make to him of like, be still, be quiet, he just goes, and he starts rooting in the ground for a truffle. And the forest breaks open, and out of it comes a 8-foot high troll. A troll. What is even crazier than the fact that the troll comes walking out is you've seen this troll before. When you were in the bunting, a troll came out wearing the tiniest bikini chainmail that could possibly fit around a creature of that size. You suspect it maybe was intended for a large human. It looks ridiculous. So it just looks ridiculous, and it has makeup just smeared on its face, like if you just a child painting with their fingers. And it comes through the bushes, and it does not see you, but it sees Chop, and it looks down and goes, "Oh," and it leans forward and starts petting Chop. And Chop is like, "Rrr!" and like starts, but when he doesn't sense an attack, he just kind of looks at her. It doesn't seem to know what to do, and she just goes, "Oh, who's a nice little piggy?" and pets, and then she continues onwards, and nothing happens. Wasn't quite sure what was going to happen there, but yeah, that's what happened.
All right. We're going to follow her.
Okay.
Through, still hidden. We're going to. She's clearly not bothered about keeping silent or sneaking or whatever.
No.
She's going to clomp through the forest, so I'm going to guess I've got an advantage on move silent. She's not listening for anything.
Yes, I will give you advantage on that because you are trying to be quiet, and she is very, very loud.
Yep.
She's knocking over like small trees as she walks.
I will poke my head out and nod at Chop. And give him the track command trick, which he should know.
Yes.
And I will continue to follow her. He will lead me if ever I lose sight of her, which is probably going to be difficult given the trail she's leaving, but this is a forest. Stranger things have happened.
Okay.
That is a 17 on the move. Okay. All right. My dex is ridiculous. There's a 17 on the move silently, so that's a 28.
Okay. Yeah, you were definitely bringing a gun to a knife fight, in that you actually think to yourself, it's like, I could start tap dancing right now and she would not notice me. She is just deaf to the world and anything that's not right in front of her. She continues to make her way for some time, and what you slowly realize is that you're coming up to the edge of the city. And there's a large, like everything around the docks, there technically is a wall, but most of the wall has actually been removed over time because of commerce. It's just, so that they have free access back and forth to the docks. But there is still an outer wall to the city from the outer areas. She's coming up to the outer wall of the city proper. And she comes up to the wall where there is a small, very, very locked, small door. And she knocks, boom, 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 and waits. And there's the sound of various unlatchings, and the door open, and a figure steps out. And I would like you to make a straight knowledge check. I will allow you to use your dungeoneering for this.
Okay. All right, so that's a 19 total.
A 19 total. Okay. You remember stories about, first of all, you've never seen one of these creatures in person, ever, but you have heard many stories. Your tribe definitely knew to stay clear of demons. And one of the most dangerous ones, one that said that their very touch can bring nightmares. It looks up at the troll and smile, a feline smile, and it holds out a hand, and you see that the thumb is on the wrong side of the hand. And as it leans up into the moonlight, it is a tiger-like figure. This is the demon the kind of demon that is known as a Rakasha. And it holds out its hand, and she takes it, and her hand just entirely envelops his. And the jewels that he has around his neck glitter, and he says, "Come in, my dear. We have quite the surprise for the king." And that's where we'll end Chafing Armor, episode 55. What's up with this chainmail bikini lady? Oh, yeah. We will find out in the next episode. Thank you all for playing.
Hubba hubba.
And I want you all to be ready because even though it technically happened this time, we didn't have a chance to get to it. At the beginning of next episode, you are all going to tell me how you have leveled to level 5.
Woohoo!
So be ready to count them hit points and let me know, and we'll be revealing that next time. I want to thank all of you for playing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for not killing us again.
Once again, you have escaped to death somehow. Great job, everybody!